Buenas noches. Yo no soy pobre, no soy rico. I am part of the Starchitects group. Hi. Buenas noches. First of all, thank you very much. The organization of this kind of events demand many quantity of time and passion, and for all of this, thank you very much. Thank you for the authorities of the faculty, and thank you for your presence. First of all, I don't speak English. I studied English 15 years ago for 2 months, and that's all my English level. For that, I have the same English of the girlfriend of Tarzan, Chaita. And for that, it's not a joke. It's only an incredible effort to be close with you and to talk, to have a very, I hope, interesting conversation. Okay, I'm come from Paraguay. Paraguay, it's a very small country. Can you hear me well? Okay, I am part of a big family. I have 7 brothers and sisters. I need the sound, I need the noisy. I need your support to understand, you can understand what I say now. For that, you be present in some time in a heavy metal concert. I need to do this, yeah, and express you and scream and laugh and everything, please, because it's not problem for me walk or laugh of everything. Okay, I come from Paraguay in the voice of Augusto Roa Bastos, our great writer. He said, Paraguay is an island surrounded by land. We are a small country in the middle of the continent. Paraguay and Bolivia, we are the both landlocked countries. And this is the place of my city. This is Asunción. This is the Paraguayan river. If you go river up, you can go to the Amazonas. If you go to the river down, you can arrive to Buenos Aires. The height of my city is 62 meters, and we are 1,500 kilometers the distance to the sea. For that, Asunción, it's, you can receive the breath of Satan because the wind is very hot. Normally, you can see, this picture is in winter for us. In winter, we have 45 degrees. And if you see the face of the people, the woman is lost, have smiles, and the people walk, he's pregnant and everything. It's normal. But the current temperature is this, 45 degrees. And in this picture, this is an incredible relation too, because the dollar, this is the relation between the Guarani, our local money, and the dollar and the euros. It's more or less like this, yes. And this is not a joke. For example, I want to ask you, a kilo of tomatoes in my country, a kilo of tomato, it costs $2, more or less €1.75. And here, a kilo of tomatoes, you don't know. Same, it's the same cost. A kilo of the highest level of meat, the cow from Paraguay, meat for exportation. A kilo in Paraguay, it costs $5. And here, $5 is okay. And a liter of milk, $1. And here, It's less. And one single brick in Paraguay, it costs 20 cents. And here, and a bag of cement of 50 kilos, it costs $10. And here. And that's why we build with bricks and cement and not with tomato and meat. Because it's cheap. It's cheap. But for the people, it costs exactly. For the society, it costs have the same cost to produce 1 kilo of bricks or 1 kilo of tomato. It's the same relation. And we, like human beings, don't have how can I say that? We use every single material surround us. For example, I can say you, I'm now a famous architect, you know. And I can say, for example, I made for you a roof of water. Can you imagine this? The roof of your house made it by water. But if you are Eskimos, the roof of our house can be water, and you can build walls of ice to protect you of the cold. Or I can say you, I can make an habitáculo, I don't know how can say habitáculo, of organic tejidos, like material, organic material, like your skin or your body. You can say, no, I'm not Lady Gaga, I'm not Robin Williams. But if you are a North American redskin, and you can see a group of buffaloes, Tatanka, do you remember the buffaloes? When you see the buffaloes, you can see your house, your clothes, your food, your garage, your home theater, and the next collection of Salvatore alguna cosa. Because us, like human beings, we use everything what we surround us to protect the life. And that's the final reason of the architecture. You build to protect. You build with the desire of the protection. And you can use everything. You can use every single material surround you to do this particular command. Protect the life, protect the people, protect your own life, the life of your family, the life of your society, etc., etc. I want to explain you one final history about my country. Paraguay have two languages officially, Guarani and Spanish. Guarani is an ancient language from the ancient people like the Guaraníes. Do you hear sometime Guarani? No? Do you want to hear how can sound the Guarani? Yes? Okay. I want to tell you some history. Oin petei carai geraba revieco. Hala hembireko katu geraba revieca. Hala revieca wereko igaucho la igaucho wereko betein collar boy. Ha hoy potashu la revieca la collar ha ishu la revieca. Emena se la pende collar boy ha seta copo gerebe con endape. Ha ome eshu la carai la revieca la collar ha un ajen la putu a revieca no sei. Ha ojoshu pe la caraí, la revieca arendape, ha un bocaray subila o qué, ha hei sube revieca, tororerore, se me embundo que, dai catuya ha, baibio pe revieca, kushu buntengo. Okay. This is. Oh, thank you. this is the history of for a man named Rebecca, come from the Jewish Rebecca is the name of the girl, and the name of the husband is Rebecca in this case. And Rebecca have a lover. The lover have some necklace of snake, and Rebecca wants the collar necklace of snake, and Rebecca say, if you give me your necklace, when the shadows come, I'm going to your house to pay the present. And the shadows comes, and Rebecca don't go to the house of the lover. And the lover goes to the house of Rebecca and can knock because Rebecca is sleeping with Rebecca, and scratch the door. And Rebecca pretends a lullaby song and say, I am here with my husband and I can respond you because, etc., etc. If you want to know how can end this history, you can see every single chapter of Desperate Housewife on TV. Okay. Well, for that, I come from Paraguay. We believe in the intelligence. Intelligence? How can I say intelligence in English is good? Huh? The intelligence, like the common link between every single human being. It's not the culture, it's the intelligence, the common link. 5 years ago, we have a disease in Paraguay named dengue. It's a disease transmitted by the bite of the mosquito. And appear another variation of the dengue, the hemorrhagic dengue. Can you understand what I say? Yes? I speak in English. Okay, thank you. Thank you. Okay. And appear the hemorrhagic dengue, and for that, Nancy, who worked with us, have two problems. If you go to the patio to clean up and everything, the mosquito can bite and even can die. And if you don't do his labor in working with us, he don't want to receive the salary. And for that, his life and the life of his family is in problem, could be died too. And someday I come to my office and I smell some particular, oh, this is Palo Santo. Palo Santo is a repellent for the insect. And I see, oh, Nancy cover all the patio with the Palo Santo and the spirals, and now start to clean up our place. And I see around and I don't see nothing. And in some moment, I see Nancy, and I discovered Nancy invented the anti-dengue mop here. Nancy put here against the mop one single spiral and burn. And when Nancy moved the mop, he's protected. He's more protected and more protected. It's an amazing. It's an invention. It's a beautiful invention, and that's the normal respiration, the normal breath of the intelligent. You can imagine 35 years ago, some students like you scratched his head trying to link a TV, typewriter machine, and a computer have the size of a room. 1 year, the guy named Big Doors trying to link that, and cross the year, and finally the guy invent the way how can link three elements: the TV, the typewriter machine, and the computer. And for humble spirit, he named his invention because his name is Big Doors, Gates, and named his invention Windows. And when invented Windows, transformed everything and transformed our life. But if you think Gates don't invent the mathematics, don't invent the electricity, don't invent the TV, don't do nothing about the typewriter, never invented the computer. He really don't invent nothing, the language, the mathematics, nothing. But knowing how can put together the three elements change everything. And that's the intelligence. And that's the intelligence can change everything. Our current crisis is not a crisis of because we don't have resources, because the material don't disappear, it's transformed. And we have now more knowledge than ever in the history. The real crisis is not a crisis of or resources of knowledge. Our crisis is a crisis of the imagination, because having what we have, knowing what we know, we don't know how can change this world and how can grow a new condition of humanity to live better, us together, with our family, with our friends, with our strange friends from many places of the world, together like a family. That's our crisis. Our crisis is the crisis of the imagination, because we don't want to break one single rule. And we believe in the culture like the key to support a better life. But it's not, because nobody can be more eruditic. Can say erudition? Erudiction? How can, you know a guy who knows everything? Nobody can be more erudited than John Google, because John Google knows everything. Even what he don't know, Google knows. And this race for the culture elements, adornar, how can say adornar? Decorate your present. This is a lost race. This is a lost race. Nobody can be have more capacity to remember than John Google. And now we need to grow our intelligence and our capacity of imagination to open new opportunities for us in the world. That's what we do in our cabinet. I'm part of the Gabinete of Arquitectura. I want to say thank you not only the people who organize here this amazing encounter. I want to say thank you to the people working on Paraguay to support us to be here. And thank you for permitirnos, for allowing that kind of relation. Okay. Many years ago, we made, around 10 years ago, more or less, we made a house, a single house, but it's a particular house. I really don't like to show houses, because to make a good house, you need a beautiful scenario where you put your particular geography or etc., but a house is a house. And when you live in a place like Asunción, in the middle of quartier, barrio, neighborhood, the house is a single space for the people. But this particular house is a house I really want to show you, because it's the house of my mother. And for that, it's a particular house, because 12 years ago, my aunt was kidnapped. And when my aunt was kidnapped, we paid twice ransom, and my aunt disappeared. And that changed everything, the relation at the interior of my family. My mother don't want to continue live alone and need some company. And for that, in particular, this house is a house for 3 families. My mother, with all his furniture and all his life, the house for my sister, come to live with my mother, and the house of my smart, intelligent, who never married at today. And for that, we made some big space, and between one Vieira bin and the other here, we have 11 meters, and we have 2 counterbalance to equilibrate the structure. And we made, this is the section of the house. This is the place for my mother. This is the place for the family of my sister. This is the place for my intelligent brother. And here is the place where all the family goes to the Saturday encounter to eat milanesas all together. 21 nepotists and 14 sister, brothers, brother-in-laws, etc., etc. This is the reason of this house. To do this, we use common encofrados, counterweights, formworks. We make the forms with current pieces of wood, and to make it the exactly line of the curve, we put sand over the form, and then peinar. How can I say peinar? It's impossible. Hi, please, Sofia. Come. Okay, and we comb the sand and put all the bricks over the sand, using the diagonal of the bricks to have 1 centimeter more of height to resist better the different and the way how can we build the structure. And over this form, we put here the sand and then the bricks in this section using the vertical section of the bricks. And we put here and here and here all the steel reinforcement in this sense and in this sense. And we built a ceramic slab armed with the steel reinforcement, and we use a very liquid melt made by 1 and 3, 1 of cement and 3 of sand, but with many quantity of water. And that is a forbidding act, because when you have a very liquid melt, the process of evaporation makes some particular condition to produce oxidation oxide of the bars, and for that is forbidden. But remember, this particular structure have a bed of sand, and all the bricks are very thirsty, con mucha sed, and keep the water initially and support the process of curation of the concrete. And for that, this kind of, in this case, it's possible to do this. Okay, even to the walls, we use the bricks, using now the horizontal diagonal for make some 1 centimeter more to work in this sense. And when finally the superior beam is over, we can leave all the forms and appear finally the space. 21 centimeters from here to here, and 14 meters here to here. It's more or less the size of the Plaza of the Patriarca of the Paulo Mendes Arrocha in Sao Paulo, but have a house over. And we start to develop some kind of prefabrication process. In this case, we start to produce these cubes made by current bricks. And when we do the cubes in different circumstances, we start to imagine what kind of wall we can do with all of boxes of bricks, and we made this. And if you visit this house, keep with you a bottle of wine. The house have a place for receive you. This is the Paraguayan River. Oh, sorry, here. The Paraguayan River. This is the area inundable. How can I say where the river, the wetlands. When the river flow and cover, that's okay. Repeat for no, to everybody, please. Thank you. And here is the house of my mother. Here. This is the cube. This is the house, and the house is very, very simple. Only two big doors open to the exterior, and all the gardens come and go to the interiors, and all the doors can support the voice of his command is to be open, and we can. This is the doors closed and the surrounded garden, and we can open every single space because the house have 700 square meters, and normally in Paraguay the square meter cost for a house like this $700 each square meter. In this particular house, the final cost was $112 each square meter, because we don't have one single material working alone. Everything work together. You can lift this particular metal reinforcement against the glass because fall together. Everything every material in the house work structurally, and for that the cost of the house can be cheap. The single stucco wall is this, and we put here the projector to see when Paraguay win the soccer games against Chile, Barcelona, Portugal, Mexico, and it's true. Okay. This is the ramp because my mother have some kind of panic and don't have a particular condition of be afraid, and for that I made this wall to walk protected. But if you turn your head, you can feel all the space. And you can use all the doors to put in different position and put and leave the fresh air here and take the hot air here. And we don't use lamps, only focus. How can I say focus in English? Light bulbs, like this. Bulbs. Ah, okay. No, it's not balls. Okay. And very simple commands to open the doors and everything. And this is how can my mother have the space with all his historical furniture and lamps and everything. And I remember the very old pictures of the houses of Le Corbusier antes, before Le Corbusier worked with the girl who designed the Charlotte Perriand. Excuse me. Hi, please, because I am. Well, it's exactly the same kind of spirit. And this is the ramp or the promenade architectural, etc., etc. This is the room of my mother. The height of the space have 6.5 meters of height, because you need to open the windows very early in the morning to keep the fresh air, and then close everything and capture the air to support all the time of the day. And when the shadows appear again and the temperature goes down, you can open again, and this is the breath of the interior and the relation of the dimension of the architecture. And this is the place for the bed of my mother, and this wall have a west orientation. For us, it's a horrible orientation, but she here can control it, all the neighborhood, because this window is exactly in the level of the bedroom, etc. Like this. Only stucco, cement stucco in the bathroom, very, very common sanitary furniture, etc. And for that, we can make this house and finish with the cost of $115 by a square meter, like this. And we don't have a space for make galleries outside of the house. And for that, we can transform all the interior of the house in a particular corridor. When you open all the doors, all the interior space transform in a space of like a corridor, like this. And I want to show you another final house, because this is a particular house again, because this is a house of ganadero. How can I say ganadero in English? Cowboy, farmer, bonanza, looky look, cowboy. How can I say that? Farmer, John Wayne, ¿cómo se llamaba eso? Okay, farmer, that. And this is the moment when Frank Gehry approved the project, the shadow of Le Corbusier, etc., etc. But it's interesting to know to show you, to explain you our process of thinking. When I start to design this particular house, I remember some joke made by a close friend of mine named Rafael Iglesias. And Rafael Iglesias talked to me some joke. And the joke starts when a prayer talk to the father. Father, when I am praying, I can smoke? And the father say, no, how can you do this? A sacred moment, you in relation with you. Yes, Father, yes, you have reason. But Father, when I smoke, I can pray? Of course, every moment is good to be in link to God. Okay. And I'm going to the engineer to explain, okay, engineer, I want to do some wall of broken bricks, pieces of broken bricks, facing up, only 4 centimeters, of 7 meters of height. No, Solano, again, you say, okay, sorry, engineer. I want to make some concrete wall alliterated by pieces of ceramic inside of course, that is very possible because that's another, okay. And with this history in the head, we start the process to produce this house, 14 meters in this sense, 9 meters here, no, 7 meters here, made it all of pieces of brick, but we use again a formwork to put the pieces of broken bricks very easily, like when you put tiles in the interior of a bathroom, and like this. Finally, this is the place when Switzerland invaded Paraguay, and all the fog of the mountains, and this is the house, very, very normal, only a big roof to keep again a good quantity of air here to support the time of the day. Inside of the space, box down the common roof, and only one single zigzag wall made it by pieces of bricks. And we use even some kind of tensors to make inertia of the slab of armored bricks, and only this tensor down. This is the photographer, the famous photographer Leonardo Finotti, and this is Leonardo Finotti again, taking his own picture in the house. As a great photographer. Thank you for these pictures. And the picture of the house of my mother was made by Enrico Cano, Luis Ayala, and people of the office, like this. And all the process, we are very famous for do what we don't know how to do. We made research, and research is start a new process to develop opportunities for the people using the current materials around you to open opportunities for who don't have nothing to support his life, to live, for the people who are obligated to live under our indifference. Indifference, can say that? Indifferencia? Indifference. And under our indifference, only because we only are comfortable using normally the way how can I learn in the faculties. And all the people don't have money to support, to produce a single house with the rules of the market today. When you start to produce what you don't know how to do, and you open opportunities for the people, even when you do some particular house like this for people with money, you link it, your work and the responsibility of the people working in a new way of life, because it's an example how can the people using the intelligence produce opportunity for everyone, like this. Very single, very simple, all the current material, the more... We made research with many materials, with bricks, with stones, with earth, with wood, with cement, with many materials, all the materials. But it's interesting to show you the bricks, because the bricks have 2,000 years old of protocols. And to change one single protocol, to do a single wall in a different way, is a giant challenge. Because you exactly know, not only you, the books, your teachers, and all the society know exactly how can do a very good house, very sophisticated, very full of details. But if you see the poor people living or dying surround you, under your indifference, this is a possible human condition. We need to start new opportunities. It's very simple. It's not very sophisticated. To do research, you don't need a very complex microscope or laboratory. Only you need use your capacity of think to understand all the opportunities for you. 5 years ago, we start the process of transformation of this Teleton clinic. Is a child rehabilitation center made by the donation. Donation can say donation of the donation of the people. Every single bricks here was a present of the poor, of the people, in solidarity with the discapacitados, these disabled people. And when we start to understand, we can change all the architecture, because the protocols the contemporary protocols are absolutely different than 30 years ago. We understand every single piece of broken bricks need to be used, because was a donation. And for that, we start to think in ways to use the material. Yes, it's not a perfect brick, it's not the perfect curve but we can use the broken bricks because we open holes in the walls with, ¿cómo se dice? Fall down some walls, etc., etc. The final result are these particular pieces of bricks. And we start to develop, how can we do this? We made this form like this and start the process at 7 in the morning, putting against this form all the pieces of brick with cement very easily, using only here one reinforcement of steel in the middle, and finish here at 10 in the morning, 3 hours, only to do this section of the vault. And we stop for 5 hours or 6 hours, because it's ¿cómo se dice? Catenary arc. It's a catenary vault, and for that the capacity of compression is perfect, and fall again the form and continues doing. This was the first, insufficient to support the forces. This was the second. You see here, the arc was very high and very rigid and broke the relation between the reinforcement and the valve. And finally, we reduced and put this, and this was excellent, and put this, and final results is this, 9 meters high. Only here have two two levels of bricks, and only en los bordes, en las puntas. Fuerte, Sofía, por favor. Edges, only in the edges, and all the rest of the bulb have only 3 centimeters. Like this. And exactly, we don't know, we are doing walls or furnitures or roof, or it's not a question for us. Only we need to use the material we have in the place and start the process. How can I make now a new kind of a slab of bricks, reinforcement in the middle, etc., or how can a simple wall can transform in a place for books or papers or flowers or etc., like this. We use only recycled window glasses, and the difference are here down in the, because we buy in the fabrics of glasses the temperate glasses with many difference, small difference, and we use all of this, like this. And all the process. And when we finish to do this with the count form, we use here, the count form here, like this, to do these particular walls again, using the same form. Only here vertical, here horizontal. This is a way how can we think. This is a current chair, normally the cheapest chair in every place. This chair is very uncomfortable, and you must need to do this. And that's the problem, because the leg of the chair don't have capacity to support these efforts. And for that, like Sisa here in the swimming pool, when disappear the encounter of the water and the, how can I say that, okay, we cut the problem and we use here like a reinforcement, the place of the leg who be cutted, and we make a more inclination to be more comfortable, and we made all the chairs of the clinic like this. And this is Jorge. ¿Ah? Jorge, sí, Penguin, es un chileno que trabajaba con nosotros. He's an intern from Chile who worked with us, and you can see here the extraordinary force to support. Now it's not a cubic prefabrication, it's a triangular box like this here, all waiting the moment to build with this. And we put all of this, one single triangular here, another here, and between one triangle and the other, we put all the steel reinforcement and the concrete, and when the concrete are mature, we can lift all the structure and we can make all of these walls of bricks. And we use even for make some pyramids, inverse pyramids, ways to use the bricks, and in between the joints, we put all the steel reinforcement working together, making some spaces like this. Okay, finally it's this, or this, or this, or this. It's impossible to give to the workers a single documentation and say, okay, do this. I want this brick here in this height, and you are the worker, and now respect our geniality, because I want a big vault, and it's so cute, and the space, and I am an artist, and I'm very afraid about the spaces in between the exterior and the interior. I'm an artist. I only know about forms and everything. No, this is impossible to do if you don't know exactly how can you build this. If you know how can you build this, it's a game. It's a child game. It's a challenge for the owners, because for all the people can build all of these singular walls, all of 3 centimeters of section, using not only facing up the bricks, first facing up and head up, in an impossible way to do. But if you have the form, you can do easily, very easily, like this. And when you go to the place of the physiotherapy, the interior is like this, like this. The swimming pool is like a small creek between these trees of ceramic, and all the childs playing in the water, in the hot water, and for that need a very high space, because with the hot of the water and the quantity of chemicals to be the water disinfected, etc., you must need this kind of high of space, and all the childs playing here like in a small creek in the nature, and appear all the light of the sun, and expand the light against the inverse pyramids. Can you understand what I say? It's English. It's a very particular. Rafael Iglesias says, Solano have an incredible capacity to speak every single language in the world in a very horrible way. And that's true. Okay. This is a current project. This is the Quincho. It's a place for the barbecue. It's a space in the backyard of a house. The swimming pool is here, and the space for the family to eat the barbecue is here. And the problem was, we have one important beam of concrete here, another here, and another here. Here we have some column to take the weight of this beam. Here, this beam have another column here. The problem was, how can support this central beam? And for that, I made this palanca. How can I say palanca in English? It's a lever. And this particular balance, when wants to fall down, support up this beam. It's a singular beam like this, supporting here, here, and here, 3 concrete beams in the other sense. And like this. Everything made it with the same system. Imagine how can we previously prefabricate these triangular boxes, triangular boxes, can you say that? Okay, and in between one and the other, all the reinforcement here, 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 etc., etc. It's not a concrete beam covered by bricks. It's not only a beam made by bricks. It's a very complex and mixtured materials supporting the gravity forces, and etc., like this. This is the place when start the balance supporting this particular, like this. All the triangular boxes now aren't made by complete bricks. We buy broken bricks. And first of all, we make some slabs of broken bricks, and then we put the slabs like this and make the triangular boxes, and then we made all of this. And it's very easily, because you, to put in a good way one single brick for make a walls or everything, you need the support of a professional worker to do exactly. But if you use the ground to put the materials, and you melt it and you glue the materials over the ground, it's very easily. And then you put over the form, all the triangulars, and put exactly the minimum quantity of concrete to support everything. Some years ago, I was in Buenos Aires, and when I finished my lecture, some guy congratulated me, can say that? And we are in the bathroom, and congratulations, thank you, etc., etc. And the guy, when I finished, he came to the podium to make his lecture. I never know who was this guy. He started the lecture like this. Solano, and I am working with my computer, closing my computer. Yes, I said. And he said, I want to be your engineer. And that was a Simpson moment for me. You know the Los Simpson, ta 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 ta, and the sky is over. This guy was the director of the Torroja Institute in Spain, named Hugo Corrés Peiretti, the director of the Torroja Institute, one of the most important institute of concrete and place for research. And when appeared Hugo Corrés in our life, we start to develop at the same time many other kind of structures. Okay. Finally, the last idea of this kind of construction was the transformation of the ground floor, underground floor of the house of my mother, and we transformed all of this space in our office. For that, we made the same idea. We cut the walls and reinforce the place where we could with bricks puntals, working with the reinforcement to against the, how can I say pandeo in English? Pandeo is flexo-compression efforts, and we made all of these puntals, like this, like this, like this. We cut the relation with the house, etc., etc. And when we cut the walls, we put the new supports to change the way. This was a project I made it by Rafael Iglesias 3 years ago, 4 years ago, when David Chipperfield invited us to make something in the Venice Biennale, and Rafael Iglesias showed us how can the architecture is over the water, and he wants to invert the process, putting all the architecture down and the water over. And he made a pavilion like this with the swimming pools over, like this, and to do this, only put bricks without melt. And for that, you can take the bricks and transform all the support of the architecture. And we start to think in the way how can we make the lines of a current wall, or if normal we can say a curtain wall, but it's not a curtain wall by bricks, it's only with glasses, etc., etc. But we made some portico, metal portic like this, and we put a steel reinforcement like this, and inside of these prefabricated pieces of wall, fixed like this, like this, like this, and like this. And that's a normal curtain, very vertical, because the weight is in this sense. But we put here one column to deform the textile of the ceramic wall, made it like pieces of this. And this is the pavilion of Rafael. This is our pavilion. We choose some particular place like this. This is Rafael. We are here. This is Rafael Iglesia. We are here. We are here. And this is our project. We put inside of the pieces of the wall, small viewers of diapositivas, how can I say that? Slides, and you can touch the wall like el Muro de los Lamentos. How can I say el Muro de los Lamentos? En Tierra Santa, okay, like this. And Rafael do this. Okay, but we start another, it's 5 minutes and over, okay? We start new ways to understand how can we make structures. This particular auditorium was made by Ren Coljas, have only a small quantity of concrete here and all the reinforcement here. This is an auditorium of 21 chairs like this. For that have 25 meters of ancho, no sé cómo se dice. It's an incredible space and an incredible way to make a structure. But researching, we know Eberto Castillo. Eberto Castillo was an engineer, Mexican engineer, who developed the 3D losa. It's a patent of Eberto Castillo. It's a normal stereostructure, and he made all the stereostructure at the Mexican way. A mix of tequila and dinamita, and you can put in a very easily way the normal pieces of metals. And if you see now, 20 chairs more or less is this. And I think it's not very intelligent, Mr. Coljas. And this place was made in a seismical area and developed all of this. And we start to think, because when we do Teleton, this is a normal, a current stereostructure. The cylindric is because working at compression, the flat slabs are for traction, etc. But we make this. And we change our way of thinking, because every time the walls and using bricks, you only develop some unilaminar structures, ever in the same level. But when we start to do the Teleton, we understand, thinking with our engineer, we are building bar system made by bricks with concrete. And for that, we are closer than Eiffel, than Castel Sant'Angelo, for example, because we can be this kind of projects now. And with this kind of reflection, for example, we made this particular project have 174 high meters in Chile for the Torre Antena in Santiago. This is the bicentenarial tower made by Cesar Pelli, the highest building of all South America, and we put a half height of the Pelli, but over the Cordillera, over the hill, and for that is highest. And appear like this, and all of these are structural made by prefabric bricks, singular bricks, but in the interior, between one box and the other, is not only a steel reinforcement, we use high-class concrete with microsilice and with carbon fiber and many. If you think in the Pantheon, if you see the Pantheon, it's amazing, a construction, 2,000 years old, made it by bricks, amazing. But if you know the section, the wall have 5 meters. And here is the bricks and here is the bricks. In between the two walls of brick, they have puzzolana, the ancient concrete of the Romans. And now we start to develop the process of the concrete. We have more and more capacity of support of the better cement and the better kind of reinforcement. And now we have carbon fiber, even we have graffito and grafeno to put this. You can see a single wall of this like a normal wall, like a Roman wall, like a Roman construction, like the Pantheon, but inside of one single bricks and another, we hope have the highest condition of the concrete. To understand this, we made this particular construction. We was invited to, like you, normally, like Mauricio and Sofia, for make some exposition in Córdoba, in a palace in the exterior of the city, and for a mix of artist groups working together, designer, etc., painting, installationist people, etc. And we want to do this, a single wall made with bricks using only triangular efforts to support and don't fall down the wall, and like this, it's 1 meter and 80 centimeters, more or less, and have 25 meters long. And here the models come and go there and appear to the other level, etc., etc. And this is my friend, a good architect named Ricardo Sargiotti. And I say Ricardo Penelope Sargiotti. Ricardo Penelope Sargiotti, because Penelope all the day make the tapiz. And when the night comes, she lifts down the tapiz. How can I say tapiz in English? Penelope, the girlfriend of Ulises. You don't know Penelope? She made a textile all the day. And when the night appeared, she that. And this architect, when the wall is ready, start the process of because the bricks are not cooked. It's exactly the opposite of these ancient walls. Here, the bricks is very stable, but the cement was not enough. But now, the capacity of the concrete we use normally to support one brick and another is very high than the capacity of the bricks. And for that, the bricks only works like San Andres cross, only to don't displace the structure of concrete, but is a concrete structure, even when you use bricks, because today we fabric more and worse bricks, and your guarantee was only the cement. And you can make some particular wall with absent bricks, and even can be supported like this. Finally, I used 10 years for do this project. Imagine 10 years to imagine a square. I'm very stupid. I'm so stupid. 10 years to imagine a single square. This particular square have 4 beams supported the single beam with a singular column like this. Have 9 meters like this, and every single side of the square have a column and a beam with 1 meter and 15 centimeters here, and 7 meters, and etc. in the other sense. And the height of the beam is the normal of, how can say, barandilla, soporte in a stair, or, ¿cómo se dice eso? Handrail, is that? Is that? Okay. Have only 1 meter and 1 meter and 10 centimeters high, and leave the ground free. This is the single column, and this is the counterbalance in this sense and the other sense. And when we made all the beams, every single beam with his own column, etc., the outside of the beams was recovered with plants of the side, like this plant in the near to the windows. I don't know how can this. Fites, okay. Made it by the maestro Solanito, my oldest son. And when we finished to do these beams, we cover the beams with mirrors. Here, 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 and here. This is my intelligent brother. And when you cover the interior of the beams with mirrors, all the surfaces who mark the place where is the square are very, very explicit. But if you put one single foot inside of the bricks of the square, the beams disappear. And the beams work in like centripetal sense, because you come to the square with your landscape. The landscape outside of the square come with you at the interior of the square. And the square like this, you, in a particular moment, you take seat near from another construction in the middle of the square, made it of concrete too. And this particular construction was the tomb of my father. My father died 20 years ago, want to be buried in this particular place. named Los Pilinchos, la sucursal del cielo. How can I say that in English? Sucursal del cielo, heaven's supplies. Heaven, I don't know how I can say this in English. And my father want to be buried here. And he said me, Solano, I want to, in a place very close to the house when we cross the summertime and all the weekends, all the family together. And for that, I cross for all the stage of the melancholy during 10 years, because everything what I know and every single protocol of all the culture of the world there aren't sufficient. There are enough to do this, and for that I spent 10 years trying to against the idea of here my hijos, my sons and my daughters say, ahí está el abuelo, etc., etc. The grandfather is there, or because all the idea of the death is horrible in our society. And for that, I discover the possibility of the mirror, because it's normal, yes. You can associate the mirror with Narciso. Narciso, it's looking his image in the mirror, and he can say, oh, how beautiful I am, oh, etc. I fascinated with me, etc. And we have this way to think about the mirror. But in the mirror, I discover other condition, because I live inside of my body. My own body is the limited who separate me of the rest of the world. I live inside me, and my body is the barrier with the others. But in the mirror, finally, I am there, out of me. Finally, in the same surface of everything, outside of me, broke the limits and broke the hierarchy. I living inside of me, and my imagine now is with everything out of me, living in another places. And when you do this, appear the possibility of new spaces, because now you can see here the other being, and here the other being, and here the other, and the other space, and the other space, and the other space, etc., etc. And all the space now is not centripetal, it's centrifugal, because when you are inside of the square, your image go and go and go and go and go and go, integrated now with many other spaces, with many others possibility of live. And start a place to game, to play, because this is the place, and this is the reflect, and here is the reflect again and again and again and again, because for our culture, everything. Who can translate this? Sofia, ¿me ayudas? Todo lo que se repite perdura. ¿Perdura? Can understand why I say? Todo lo que se repite perdura. Todo lo que perdura es eterno. Todo lo que es eterno es sagrado. ¿Se entiende? Todo lo que se repite perdura. todo lo que perdura es eterno, todo lo que es eterno es sagrado. For that, the sex is sacred. For that, eat milanesas all the Saturdays in the house of my mother is a ceremony, sacred ceremony. And in the repetition, we have a link with the transcendence and all the idea of the universe and etc. And all the religions use the repetition like ceremonies, like rituals, to understand we are a part of the continuous of the life, the continuous of the material. We are part of all of this process, and I am a repeated part of my father, and my son is a repeated part of me and of my father, etc., etc., etc. And this is the space. Even the flowers outside can be inside of the square. And in diagonal appear many other spaces. This is a normal ceremony of clean the mirrors. This is my mother, and this is my son. This was my son Solanito 10 years ago, with 10 years old, and he played in the space, looking at me, using the mirror to know exactly what I am doing. Here he have the feet over the ground, and he is flying. How can he live in my dreams? Thank you very much. Thank you.